find us when he comes?
Awake and ready.
And when he asks us to dedicate our lives ever more perfectly to him, how will he find us?
Awake and ready.
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Friend, beloved God,
Friend, beloved God,
Great Masters of Self-Realization,
Great Masters of Self-Realization,
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Beloved Master,
Beloved Master,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Saints of all religions,
Saints of all religions,
we humbly bow before thee.
we humbly bow before thee.
Bless and guide our lives.
Bless and guide our lives.
Help us to stand unshaken
Help us to stand unshaken
amidst the crash of breaking worlds.
amidst the crash of breaking worlds.
That we may cling to thee
That we may cling to thee
with ever deeper devotion
with ever deeper
and
devotion
dedication
and dedication
until we find thee
until we find
and
thee
share thee with all.
and share thee with all.
Peace. Good morning, friends. Have a seat. We're going to start with some music.
There lived a tender maid in a far-off country. The strangeness of this world made her sigh. Her friends asked their fathers for money and clothes, but still her heart wondered why. She saw a solemn cloud gather watching a rainbow. The bright rays of their joy thrilled the sky. Her teachers explained it all wisely away, but still her heart wondered why. She saw a mother smile as she tended her baby, a widow weep that love had to die. The joy of new friends and the sadness of parting, all these made her ask God why. She saw the silent stars thrill the night with their gladness. It seemed some wondrous truth to imply. That her elders all slept, but the magic of light did wake her to ponder why. Into her heart stole the secret of oneness, a bond not even time can untie. For love there possessed her and made her his own. In love she at last learned why.
As you listen to these words on our affirmation for this week, renunciation. Renunciation means turning one's back on non-essentials, that we may give our whole attention to the Lord. We might think of renunciation as an investment, which initially may seem a loss, but in time becomes multiplied to many times its original worth. The least gift that we give to God will return to us in divine blessings 1,000-fold. Renunciation means nothing less than the gift to God of oneself. Renunciation is of the heart. It isn't what you wear or the outward rules you follow. When you renounce all for God, you hold that renunciation as a precious secret between you and Him. All your desires, all your ambitions, then, are for Him alone. And now let's affirm together, first in a strong voice, grabbing the attention of the conscious mind. I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
See where I fly.
See where I fly.
High above the tall mountains.
High above the tall mountains.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
And now a little softer. I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
See where I fly.
See where I fly.
High above the tall mountains.
High above the tall mountains.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
And now in a whisper, bringing it into the subconscious mind, but with even deeper focus. I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
I spurn the tempting magic of this world.
With its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
Its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst.
See where I fly.
See where I fly.
High above the tall mountains.
High above the tall mountains.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
I am free.
And now silently broadcasting it at the point between the eyebrows at the superconscious level. Mentally, I spurn the tempting magic of this world with its rainbow bubbles ever ready to burst. See where I fly, high above the tall mountains. I am free. I am free. And pray silently with me. Lord, help me to see that in no outward experience will I ever find fulfillment. All that my heart has ever sought awaits me in Thee. Oh, peace. Amen. Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is like our family service. Young ones, welcome. My name is Dharmadevi. This is my husband Narayan, and welcome to those joining us online as well. I'm going to read to you from Rays of the One Light. It's weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ananda. And this is week 29. Self-effort, too, is needed. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. These past weeks, we discussed the need for balancing self-effort with receptivity to divine grace. Both are important in the spiritual life. Passive dependence on grace hasn't the magnetism to attract grace. Boastful self-confidence, however, which closes itself off from the higher divine power, is shallow, brittle, and given life's many uncertainties, susceptible to ultimate failure. There is a story in the Bible that illustrates the need to put forth personal effort so as to draw magnetically on the divine power. The story occurs in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 8. But as he went, the crowds nearly suffocated him. Among them was a woman who had had a hemorrhage for 12 years and who had derived no benefit from anybody's treatment, she came up behind Jesus and touched the edge of his cloak. As a result, her hemorrhage stopped immediately. "Who was it who touched me?" Jesus asked. When everybody denied it, Peter remonstrated, "Master, the crowds are all around, pressing you on every side." But Jesus said, "Somebody touched me. I felt power going out from me." When the woman realized that she had not escaped notice, she came forward trembling and fell at his feet and admitted before everyone why she had touched him, adding that she had been instantaneously cured. "Daughter," Jesus said, "it is by your faith that you have been healed. Go in peace." Self-confidence and self-effort are necessary as the ignition of a car is necessary to the motor. Of what use the ignition, however, if the motor itself will not work? Wise is he who recognizes the real power in the universe and guides his life by that supreme power. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter, "To those who meditate on me as their very own, ever united to me by incessant worship, I make good their deficiencies and render permanent their gains." Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to start with Whispers from Eternity. Some of you are familiar, some not. This is Yogananda's book of prayer demands. And this one is "Save me from shipwreck on my ocean of dreams." I was shipwrecked on the storm-tossed ocean of mere dreams. My vessel of happiness was utterly shattered. Struggling, I tried to swim through those tossing waves of sadness and suffering. Then suddenly, a little raft of hope, wafted to me by thy winds of mercy, came floating to me. I grasped it and held on. Little by little, floating thereon, I touched at last upon the golden isle of peaceful silence. Nymphs of thy blessings met me and took me to thy safe presence of eternal reassurance, beyond all waves of false rising hopes and crashing disappointments. It's a real joy to be with you all. And we have an incredible potluck that materialized out of the ether, yeah. Not to make you salivate during I don't want to do the sermon on the potluck, but this is a very important topic for us. Self-effort too is needed. And I read this interesting quantum physicist talking about outer space and related to the power of God on a mundane level too. This doctor was saying how they noticed that alligators sometimes bellow a B flat for and they noticed that the alligator did this actually during their mating call. So you ladies, if any guys are bellowing at the B flat, watch out. But the other thing then relating it to quantum physics is that they noticed in a black hole in Perseus, and it reminded me of our song, "The Thunder of Om" we sing during our festival. Out of the silence came the song of creation, and they noticed that not in the heart of the black hole, but in the gas on the perimeter, the spiraling perimeter, that it echoes a B flat. And it's 57 octaves or something like that below, our normal middle B flat. Keshava could help us out with this. But what does this all have to do with self-effort and our pathway back home? Well, the self-effort that we are making is of the sort of attuning our will to the divine will. Because no man, right, is an island. We're all influenced in this world. And God knows, we know about the negative mindscape in the world today. So we now, more than ever, need to make an effort to more dynamically and consciously attune ourselves, our hearts, our minds, our actions, every fiber of our being with the divine, with God. And how do we do that? Well, this reading and this story of this woman who had a hemorrhage, I think, for 12 years, and that just touched the hem of Christ's garment and was healed instantaneously. Well, as the story goes, there was crowds around Christ, and no one else was healed instantaneously except this one woman. So what was her secret? What was the secret that allowed her to receptively draw that divine grace and that divine power into her and have her have an instantaneous healing? Well, it's as he said, you have been healed by your faith. Go in peace. And faith is the way Swami put it, the attractive power of our underlying state of consciousness. It's that aspect of us that knows. We've had an experience and something that you have faith in it. Just like a child knows that if he cries long enough, right, to his mother or father, that they will come. But we're trying to develop that strong faith, right? That kind of faith that, well, I'll give you an example. I had an experience of this, and it was with Autobiography of a Yogi. And I venture many of you have had that same experience who read that book. It was like touching the hem of Christ's garment. I felt in that book there was some power, right? There was some divine vibration within that book. And I knew that this man knew. I knew that he was a man of God. I could feel Yogananda's authenticity. I could feel his joy, right? I could feel his love for God through the book. And how is that? And it's interesting because when Swami Kriyananda was a young monk and he came to Yogananda, Yogananda asked him, "How did you like my autobiography?" And he said, "I loved it, sir." And remember what Yogananda said? It's because it has my vibrations in it. This is a special dispensation, right? It's not to be sectarian and we're the only, we were joking yesterday, our ray is the only way. No, this is, as the book is, rays of the one light. There are multiple rays of God's light coming into this world at this time. And we're sharing and offering one of those rays. But no matter what ray we feel drawn to, for all of us, it comes back to this drawing, this sense of receptivity, and with the attractive power of faith of knowing, with ever deeper heart and clarity. We're hypnotized. We're like the king, right, who is sleeping at night. He owns the whole kingdom, all the gold, all the riches, and the king is having the nightmare. And he's crying out for a penny in his nightmare. And he owns the whole kingdom, right? That's the state that we're in. And so we need to learn to break that hypnotism, right? To awaken our higher nature, our higher potential. It just dawned on me why Swami, coupled this reading with renunciation. It's that it's not, remember, real renunciation isn't what you give up, it's what you embrace. It's what you give yourself to. Remember Autobiography of a Yogi, Baduri Mahashai, the levitating saint. Some of you know that story. and his disciples, he renounced great family wealth to take up the spiritual path. And some of his disciples said to him, "Oh, Master, you renounce so much to serve all of us." And he remonstrated them. He said, "No, the worldly person is the real renunciate. I've given up a few paltry rubies for an endless kingdom, an empire of boundless bliss." This is the kingdom that we have with him. But how do we find that kingdom? It's not enough to read autobiography of a yogi. We need to write our own, don't we? We need to actually become that yogi, become the lover of God. And we're blessed with this science of Kriya Yoga. Yes, it gives us a technique to commune with God, but the technique alone, remember, is not enough. Really, the yoga techniques can't give you God. They can help you give your heart to him. But it's really the sweetness. That's why I love this chant, "At thy feet," that we sang together. "In secret in my soul, I'll gather blossoms for thee. Dipping them in devotion, I'll lay them at thy feet." It's just the joy of loving God, the joy of offering yourself to God. Just that lone joy of giving, of loving. I wanted to share on that topic something Yogananda said on this that I found deeply inspiring, and I hope you do too. This is Yogananda speaking. "God richly rewards his devotees, but the word reward is obnoxious to me, because I do not seek a reward from God. Since he has given me unconditional love to possess as my own, I want to give that love to him. Even if for 1,000 years he does not reply, what of it? Give your love to God just the same, without even asking. Come to me. Give to him without condition. In the devotional way to God, the devotee says, 'Lord, I will be happy in the giving of my love to you. Even though my offering may be inadequate, I am not seeking for your response. I am not asking you to receive my love. Whether or not you receive it, whether or not you respond, I am glad just to give my unconditional love to you. That is all. It is my greatest happiness. Unceasingly I give that love to you, and to your manifested presence in the temple of flowers and all nature, in the temple of friends and loved ones, in the temple of devotees, in the temple of my soul. I know that as you have made me in your image, I am one with you always. Even if you never reply to me, I give my love to you, my Lord, and shall keep on giving it unto eternity. That is all I know. He is a true lover of God, who stands by him equally during sunny days of joy and dark days of trials. Why not? Those who are in love are day and night thinking only of their beloved one. So is this romance with God. It is the most wonderful existence you can ever imagine." And this is the key, the secret that he's giving us, right? As Christ said, to pray unceasingly. And also, as this woman is teaching us in the story from today, to pray, believe, right? As Christ said, pray knowing that if you're a child of God, you know that your mother or father will respond to your soul call. If it's for your best good, of course she'll come to you. Yeah, it's like Yogananda's affirmation for material success, where he ends it, "Thou art my love. I have everything." When we associate our wealth in God, when we put all our stocks and bonds, right? We put that investment into God. The return is exponential, right? It's beyond imagination of expectancy, what the return that we will gain. So now, more than ever, if we can make this resolution in our hearts, that what we really want, what all of the noise and chaos and denigration of everything that's seeming of value and goodness in the world that's going on today, it's really because we actually chose to come at this time. And we chose to be a beacon of the light. And God needs co-creators of spirit to usher in this new age. And how can we do that? Well, we can turn within ever more deeply and then share those blessings in our daily life. And just even little ways make an incredible difference. You know, and it doesn't matter what our plight is, where we find ourselves situated. We can always find some goodness, some way to give, some way to turn. It's all in our mind, isn't it? That it depends on the attitude of our mind. There's an incredible story. Some of you know Jairam. He's a man that's actually been in prison for almost 30 years, or over 30 years. And while he was in prison, he touched the hem of Christ's garment too. He found Autobiography of a Yogi. That book changed his life. And he reached out to SRF and didn't get a response. And so he stumbled upon Ananda and became friends with Swami Jyotish. Jyotish went to visit him, Ashad and David, Ananta Maria. These are all our friends from Ananda. And he became a Kriyavan. And to this day, for the last 20-some years, he's been practicing Kriya morning and night, 2 to 3 hours a day. And he actually, Ananta allowed him to teach his roommates. Him and his roommate, practice Kriya Yoga in maximum security prison. Right? So it doesn't matter your circumstances, but his story is remarkable. When he heard about the Temple of Light at Ananda Village that we're going to build, those of you who haven't been there, this is up in Northern California. And it's a $3 million, it's a big project. And so Jairam was deeply inspired he wanted to give to this. And, well, what could he do, right, in his situation? But he had this business idea that he had his brother-in-law and his sister enact for him. And then he called Jyotish and Devi, and they had a Skype call, and he said, I'm glad to tell you that this investment worked out, and we were able to raise $50,000 for the Temple of Light. And they were, oh my God, $50,000, it's amazing. And then his sister said, no, we can do better. Actually, it's $100,000. And then he said, no, we can do better, $200,000. And they went all the way up. So lo and behold, this man raised $1 million from prison for this Temple of Light. I'm telling you, there is the miracles again and again happen. God supports his devotees. And Jairam wasn't doing that right for himself. It's the purity of his heart, the purity of his willingness and joy and wanting to share and wanting to be of service. It allowed that grace to flow through him for this Temple of Light. So how should we proceed in our path? Why not seek God first, last, always? And then we'll realize he's been with us from the beginning to the end and throughout all time. God bless you.
Listen to my soul song. Listen to my heart song. Listen to my soul song. Listen to my heart song. In secret in my soul, I will gather blossoms stored, dipping down in devotion. I will lay them at thy feet. Listen to my soul song. Listen to my heart song. Listen to my soul.